The Lions just went to SoFi Stadium and took down the LA Chargers on Sunday to advance to 7-2. There's a lot I want to talk about from the game and the Lions' future. If someone told me before the Lions-Chargers game that Gibbs would have 2 1-yard rushing touchdowns and Monty would have a 75-yard rushing touchdown, I would have said that you're crazy. I still can't believe Monty made this run. This move here is dirty, sending the Chargers defenders into each other. Jahmyr, great blocking upfield. That's the second time this season he's rushed upfield with the ball carry to deliver key blocks. Jahmyr, no one wants to see him win. His haters and the refs had a touchdown on the first drive of the game, called back by the Zebras. I understand it, but it was a weak call. Jahmyr still had a good game. 2 receptions off of 2 targets for 18 yards. Delivered this block here. I'm also just going to keep telling you, Jahmyr's already a dog, and he's just going to keep getting better. In my unbiased perspective on if David Montgomery stepped out of bounds or not here on his 75-yard touchdown run, is that he didn't, because David Montgomery's the best. You'd never step out of bounds when he could just score a fucking 75-yard touchdown. Grass is also visible between his cleat and the out of bounds lining, and I feel like the old Lions, or in past years, the refs would overturn this call. But now that we're the new Lions with a bit more respect, the refs made a great call. There's just no concrete evidence. No matter the team here, this is a touchdown. That's just my unbiased take though. Monty also said that it hurt that Jahmyr just jogged to catch up and block for him, which is really funny. And he also said that he felt like he needed to step it up after watching Jahmyr explode when he was out, which also blows my mind because Monty's already been dominated and he felt like he had to step it up even more.
Yeah, it was a good run. It wouldn't have been anything without the O-line and the wide receivers. Definitely, like, I want to highlight Jahmyr. You know, that's the second time this year where I've had a long run and Jahmyr's been there to lead the way. That takes a lot of humility too for him to be who he is and be able to run and go block for me. You know, and it also shows how fast he is too. Because I was running as fast as I was and he was jogging and he still managed to beat me. So I'm a little hurt about that, but I'll just suppress those feelings later.
I also felt like the Lions ran the game. I know the score may say otherwise because the Lions won with the last second field goal, but I was never really nervous at all at any point during the game that the Lions were going to lose. Besides when they went for it on 4th down on their last drive, I think that was the only play where I was fairly nervous. I'm not trying to sound like a cocky Lions fan. That's just how I felt. You know, the Lions turned over the ball at the 1-yard line. We picked off Herbert. I felt like our offense was a lot more explosive. We never trailed. We were up 24-10 at one time. It felt a little bit like the Chargers were trying to hang with the Lions. They just couldn't, and they could never break through and take the lead. And the refs were essentially keeping the Chargers in the game in the 4th quarter. On the drive where the Chargers tied the game at 31-31, 2 weak-ass PI calls on Cam Sutton. 1 on 3rd and 12 and 1 on 4th and 1 from the 1-yard line. The 1 on 4th and 1 from the 1-yard line nearly didn't even matter. The Chargers had 6 straight plays from the Lions' 1-yard line. They eventually scored on the 6th one, but the Lions D was beating up the Chargers and Herbert there. Herbert was on the bottom of the pile so many times in a row, left that drive bloodied up. The running back duo of Monty and Gibbs was outstanding. They have shown that they are one of the best, if not the best, running back duo in the league right now. Monty had 116 yards off 12 carries. Gibbs had 77 yards off 14 carries with 35 yards receiving off of 3 receptions. St. Brown continues to prove that he's one of the best wide receivers in the game right now. 9 targets, 8 receptions for 156 yards. For the Lions though, the big thing that continues to haunt them throughout this season was a problem last year. It's been better this year, but still definitely a problem, is their defense, giving up 38 points to the Chargers. So far this season, the Lions give up 38 to Herbert and the Chargers, 38 to Lamar and the Ravens, and 37 to Geno and the Seahawks. However, there was a pick 6, so only 30 offensive points, but still. But against all the other teams, the Raiders, Bucks, Panthers, Packers, Falcons, when the Lions aren't playing these elite quarterbacks, their defense is locked down. You look back to last season, it's the same trends. We can't stop Hurts. We can't stop Kirk. We can't stop Geno. We can't stop Dak Prescott. We can't stop Tua, Waddle, and Tyreek. We can't stop Josh Allen. But against all the other quarterbacks we play, it's a lot different. Now, obviously, this is an issue. The Lions want to contend for that #1 seed in the playoffs. We want to win playoffs games. We can't win a playoff game if our defense is going to give up 40 plus. So what's the problem? How do we fix it? Well, I don't think firing Aaron Glenn midway through the season would fix any of our problems. It might even make our problems worse. Now, there's no chance in hell the Lions would ever do that. The players love Aaron Glenn. The coaching staff, they still like Aaron Glenn. I don't think it's entirely Aaron Glenn's fault. First off, being consistent on defense is probably one of the hardest things to do in the NFL. And defenses, how well they play or how many points they give up is going to vary week to week. You look at the Broncos, they give up 70 points to the Dolphins, and then they shut down Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. There's going to be times where you give up a lot of yards when you're playing these elite quarterbacks like Justin Herbert. There's times that it's just gonna happen. Now with the Lions though, it seems to happen every single time we play one of these quarterbacks of that caliber. But even though there's bad, you got to give our defense some props. You can't feel like it's all bad because there's still a lot of good that comes out of this defense. We're shutting down Atlanta, their strong run game. We shut down the Bucks, shut down the Packers. This defense is still good. It's just not of the elite status. And one thing that has improved a ton since last season is the Lions run defense. We only allowed 98 yards rushing against the Chargers, and we're currently 3rd in rushing yards per game allowed. But then that means that the Chargers threw the ball the whole game and that our secondary got torched. And this leads me into my next thing is Aaron Glenn scheming. Everyone continues to hate on Aaron Glenn scheming. He needs to adjust. We can't give up this many yards and points to Geno Smith, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. But to that I say, what do you want Aaron Glenn to do? Ideally in a defense, you want to get 4 rushing to make pressure and maybe take down the quarterback. The Lions aren't taking down the quarterback whatsoever, and the only person making pressure is Aiden Hutchinson on the edge, but he's just getting double teamed every single play. We didn't sack Justin Herbert once. He barely was under pressure, and when he did, we couldn't take him down. I understand the people that get pissed off that we didn't take Jalen Carter or get Chase Young. I understand why Brad Holmes didn't make those moves, and I agree with them. I'm not like upset with them, but I understand that people are upset because that is a huge reason our defense is failing, is we're not creating pressure and taking down the quarterback. Justin Herbert's out there with all day to throw, and our defense and secondary isn't going to lock up top tier wide receivers for 10 plus seconds. Kirby Joseph's great, but he's young and inexperienced, and he's not locking up these players for 8 seconds. Tracy Walker's good, but we'd love to have CJ Gardner-Johnson back, one of the best safeties in the NFL. Our corners, Cam Sutton's amazing, and I love Jerry Jacobs, but both of them even, they're not going to be locked down every single play and for 8 plus seconds. There is going to be open wide receivers when you're going up against Keenan Allen. We would love to have James Houston, a top tier rusher in the second half of last season, back. We would love to have Mosley back, a super strong corner. And it also seems like when we're going up against these top tier quarterbacks, a lot of passes are getting completed over the middle. Barnes seems to struggle in coverage. Anzalone even. They both sometimes will make great plays. I think more Anzalone than Barnes in coverage, but still, they're not locked down every single play. I don't really think that Aaron Glenn's the issue. I think it's our depth, because also Jerry Jacobs is out there every single play. They're getting gassed. I don't think it's the scheming. I don't think we should fire Aaron Glenn. I think it's that we're going up against top tier wide receivers and quarterbacks, and we don't have depth in our secondary, and our pass rush is not getting home whatsoever. But in some good news, the Lions are now 7-2 for the 3rd time in the Super Bowl era. We were 7-2 in 1993. We lost the next 3 games. It ended 10-6. And then in 2014, we all remember starting the season 7-2 and then going 11-5 and losing in the playoffs. Fuck the refs and the Cowboys for that. Never forget. But the Lions have a chance to go 8-2 for the first time in franchise history. That'd be exciting. Let's say for the Lions, the big thing is hopefully we can start creating more pressure, get James Houston back. That'd be huge. And also hopefully Gardner-Johnson can come back by playoffs. That'd be amazing. Lions 7-2, coming for the Eagles, who are 8-1. The defenses though don't match, but maybe the Lions can sneak that #1 seed, because the Eagles have a tough stretch of the next 5 games. They play the 49ers twice, I believe. They play the Cowboys again. They have some hard games. But that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed my content, I'd appreciate if you could like and subscribe. I really appreciate it a lot. Thanks for watching. Fuck the